Hello, everybody. Hello, 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 and welcome. Right, I'm just waiting for people to join us. Right, hello. Got a few people online now, so welcome to How to Overcome Self-Doubt and Increase Your Self-Confidence for Introverted Women Leaders. Hello from Prague. Hello, so whilst we're waiting for more people to come online, if you just type in the comments, whether you're in the Facebook group, whether you're watching on LinkedIn, just type what part of the world you're from, because we always have people, women and men from all over the world on these lives. So just type in the comments where you're watching from. All right, I will get going. We've got a few more people that are coming online. So welcome. And in a survey, we've got Texas. Hi from Texas. Hi, Nikita from Texas. Lovely to have you here. In a survey that I did when I was carrying out research for my book, Quietly Visible, Leading with Influence and Impact as an Introverted Woman, I surveyed senior leaders, introverted women who were senior leaders, and 73% of them said that they experienced self-doubt. And that is high, but it's not uncommon. Hello, Sherelle from Texas. Hello, Lakeisha from Atlanta. Hello, Jane from London. Lovely to have you all here. And self-doubt was an issue for them. Despite this self-doubt, they were still achieving great success in their careers. So this session is about how you can overcome self-doubt and increase your self-confidence. And for those of you that don't know me, my name is Carol Stewart. I'm known as the coach for high achieving introverted women. I'm an executive career leadership coach. I'm the author of the book Quietly Visible, Leading with Influence and Impact as an Introverted Woman. And I coach introverted women who are senior leaders to be visible, to exude presence, and to lead confidently with influence and impact. So what we're going to be looking at today is what causes us to doubt ourselves, what you can do to change and challenge yourself so that you do feel more confident, and ways in which you can increase your self-awareness and identify the triggers that cause you to doubt yourself. So I am streaming to LinkedIn, into my Facebook group, and onto YouTube as well. So if you see me, my head going like that, it's because I'm trying to look at comments that are coming through on the different screens. So first of all, what I want to look at is what causes us to doubt ourselves. And we're very much led by our emotions, and the way that we think controls how we feel, and we act and behave according to how we're feeling. And this is often because of our beliefs about ourselves, our situation, or the environment we're in, or something that we need to do. And these beliefs, they can stem from early childhood. It could have been as a child where you were made to feel that you weren't good enough, and particularly where introverted women are concerned, oftentimes as a child, they may have been told to speak up more. So I had a particular client who was introverted and her siblings were extroverted, and her parents, doing it out of love, felt that she should be more outgoing like her siblings. And as a result of this, when she wanted to just be by herself and get on with her drawing and painting, she was being pushed to go out and be more sociable like her siblings. And as a result of that, as she grew older, it caused her to doubt herself, to think that she wasn't good enough. So whenever she was put in situations where she felt uncomfortable, she would doubt herself, and self-doubt would rear its head. Other situations that it may occur is in your career. You may be made to feel that you're not good enough. And an example could be in your early career, you may have an experience where you're made to feel that something is wrong with you or that you're not good enough, and that can stick with you throughout your career. An example is that I had a client who, a senior leader, and she doubted herself when it came to public speaking and speaking up in meetings. And it transpired that in her early career, her very first job, she would often be in meetings and being one of the only women and made to feel that her voice didn't matter. She would get spoken over. She would be made to feel that she should be making the tea, that sort of thing. And as a result, that had stuck with her into her 40s, that she wasn't good enough. So it can be an experience where you've maybe had you've been bullied or harassed at work, and then that can knock your confidence. Or you may have had a line manager that might have been micromanaging you, and that may have caused you to doubt yourself. So there are many reasons why you may have, or there may be different reasons that have contributed to you having that belief that you're not good enough in certain environments. And then how that manifests itself is, because I said we're very much led by our emotions. And if you have that belief that you're not good enough and you're doubting yourself, it means that you either don't do the things that you want to do or that you need to do, or you do them, but because you're feeling so anxious about it, you don't do them to the best of your ability. And then what happens is, so even though to the outside world, you may appear successful, that you're achieving great things in your career, but on the inside, it could be like an inner turmoil that you've got going on, which is stressful, which is puts a lot of pressure on you. And then as a result of the pressure that you put on yourself, you may experience things like perfectionism, imposter syndrome, and you don't get to enjoy the experience of being a leader or enjoy your work as much as you could, because you have that stress that's going on, that you have that inner turmoil that's going on. And in order to change this, you need to change your thoughts and your beliefs. So as I said, we're very much led by our emotions, many of us are, and the way that we think affects how we feel, and we act and behave according to how we're feeling. And that's because of our belief about ourselves, a situation that we're in, or an environment that we're in, or something that we need to do. So if you can change what you believe, your thoughts and your beliefs about yourself and what you need to do, that will change how you feel, and you'll feel more confident. And ways in which you can do this, ways in which you can change your beliefs, is to challenge them. So when there is something that you know that you need to do, whether it's you're going to be speaking up in a meeting, whether you're going for a job interview, whether you need to be having a difficult conversation with someone, whether it's you just want to be more impactful, or whatever it is that you want to do, examine your thoughts and your beliefs about yourself and that situation, and then challenge your thoughts and change what you're thinking, and that will help you to change how you feel, and that will change how you act and behave. So ways in which you can challenge your belief is write down what you're thinking. So when you feel that you're doubting yourself and you get that stress feeling, that feeling of you're feeling anxious, just write down what your thoughts are about what it is that you need to do, and challenge yourself about how accurate is that belief? Where is the evidence to support that belief? So look back over your career and when you've been in similar circumstances, how many times has what you believe actually happened? And this is something that I often do with my clients, and get them to look back over their career and tell me how many times what they are fearing or worrying about has actually happened. And often it hasn't happened, or often it may have happened once or twice, but they have, because they're worrying so much, they are focusing on what they're about to do or what they need to do, and forgetting all those times where they have maybe done something similar and they have done it well and everything has been okay. And we often imagine the worst possible outcome when we're faced with situations where we're doubting ourselves. We fear the worst. We think the worst is going to happen. But the reality is the worst may not happen. And even if the worst was to happen, you will be able to think of solutions that will get you through it. So thinking of the things situations where you doubt yourself, what is the worst thing that could happen? And if you want to, please share in the comments, what is the thing that you worry about that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? Whatever you're doubting yourself with. And then ask yourself, well, if that was to happen, what could you do? And then see what it is that you could do. And then ask yourself again, well, if that was to happen, what could I do? And then once you work through that and you see that, well, there are solutions if the worst was to happen. If the worst was to happen, you'll still be here. You'll still have your job or whatever it is that you're worrying about. And then you'll see that you're overly worrying about the worst possible outcome. So I've got someone here who said embarrassment. So, and I've got another one here who said, people thinking I don't know what I'm talking about in a meeting or dismissing my ideas. So I ask you, those of you who have said that, embarrassment or people thinking that you don't know what you're talking about, if that was to happen, what could you do? If you were to feel embarrassed, what could you do? If people were to dismiss your ideas, what could you do? And the thing is, when you feel embarrassed, you feel it, but other people can't necessarily see that you're embarrassed unless you show them. And most times, when we're feeling that we're doubting ourselves, we're lacking confidence, other people don't know what is going on inside us. And I often liken people who doubt themselves or introverted women who are leaders to a swan. So on the outside, they look graceful, going about their day, but on the inside, there's that inner turmoil going on. So what is the worst that could happen? And if that was to happen, what could you do? And so if you challenge your thoughts, your beliefs, look for the evidence, and if you see that there's no evidence to support what your beliefs are, then what are you worrying about? And another thing that you can do that is helpful is to write down what you're thinking. So write down your thoughts about what it is that you're doubting yourself about and what your beliefs are. And then write down corresponding words which are more helpful, which are more rational, which are more realistic. And when I say write those down, I don't mean it's just thinking positive. It's about challenging your beliefs and changing them. Because if you change what your beliefs are, you'll change how you feel and you'll change how you act and behave. And it's not just a case of standing up and doing positive affirmations. Yes, positive affirmations have their place, but if you have an inherent belief about you're not feeling good enough, then no matter how many times you tell yourself that you are, if you don't believe it, you're not going to act it. And so, for example, a client of mine who had to reapply for her job, she believed that she wasn't going to get it. She believed that she was going to end up homeless, and because she would lose her job, she wouldn't get the position that she applied for. She would lose her job, and she wouldn't be able to pay her mortgage. She would end up homeless, and she was having sleepless nights as a result of her beliefs, and she was doubting herself. She wasn't good enough. She wouldn't get the role. But by getting her to challenge her beliefs, she saw that she had options. She saw that if the worst came to the worst and she lost her job, then she could rent out her spare bedroom and get some income coming in so that she could still pay her mortgage until she got another job. And even though that's not something that she wanted to do, she recognized that that was an option. And so rather than thinking irrationally that she was going to end up homeless and then becoming stressed, and then as a result of the stress, doubting herself, that she wouldn't get it and it affecting her confidence, once she saw what the solution, that she had options and she had solutions, that took away that pressure off her, it eased the stress, and she felt more confident, and she went in, she got the position. And the ways in which you can do that, as I've said, are writing down. And I've got a comment here. I started to keep a journal, which is very helpful and insightful. I also give myself a worry window, 20 minutes a day, around the same time each day, 6 p.m., write down my concerns. And those are great things, and those are things that I recommend my clients do as well. And that leads me on nicely to what I'm going to talk about next, and that is about how you increase your self-awareness so that you can identify those triggers, so that it means that you can manage your self-doubt better, and also put things in place so that it doesn't derail you, so it doesn't have such a negative impact on you, and it doesn't cause you so much stress. And one of those things, which I was going to mention, is journaling. And journaling is a great way of self-reflecting and increasing your self-awareness about what is going on. We don't often, or many people don't often stop and think about what they're thinking about, and stop and reflect on whether what they're thinking about is accurate, whether it is true, whether what they believe about themselves is true. And journaling is a great way of self-reflecting and increasing your self-awareness. And by doing so, when you have that self-awareness, it's easier to identify those things that trigger. So what are the things that trigger you to doubt yourself? Is it certain situations? Is it speaking up in meetings? And if that's the case, write down how you feel about it. What are your thoughts and feelings about what it is that you need to do and yourself in those situations, and write through those emotions. So don't ruminate, but write through looking for solutions. And that'll help you to increase your self-awareness and identify triggers. And once you know those triggers, you can put measures in place to counteract them. And once you know yourself, you know what triggers you, you know what causes you to doubt yourself, those environments, those situations, and then it's easier for you to manage that self-doubt, and you will feel more confident, because if you can change how you feel, you change how you act and behave. So just to wrap up what I've talked about, so I've talked about how we're very much led by our emotions, and the way that we think affects how we feel, and we act and behave according to how we're feeling. So what you need to do is to change those beliefs by challenging them and changing them to something which is more helpful. So look for the evidence to support what your beliefs are. And chances are there may be no evidence to support it. And if there is, well, what's the worst that could happen? And if the worst was to happen, what could you do? And also make time for self-reflection, because self-reflection helps to increase your self-awareness so that you identify those situations, environments that trigger you. And then it's easier to manage your emotions and regulate your emotions when you're journaling or doing that self-reflection, and your awareness is increased. And once you know what your triggers are, put measures in place. So as we've had a comment here is about journaling or giving herself a worry window at the end of the day, just to examine and do that self-reflection. And another comment someone has put is a few times a week, they write all good things that have happened to them on a piece of paper and put it in a box. And she's seen that it's helped her to decrease fear and lower her stress. And that is a good suggestion. And another thing which is similar to that is to keep a success folder. So keep a folder. It can be a physical folder, it can be a virtual folder. So anytime you have a win or a success, keep a record of it, so that when you do doubt yourself, you've got that record to look back on and to remind yourself and help to decrease your fear and lower your stress. So what are you going to do differently going forward to manage your emotions so that you overcome self-doubt and increase your self-confidence? share in the comments and let me know what you're going to do differently going forward. And whilst I'm waiting for the comments to come through, if anybody has any questions, please type them in the comments and I will answer them before I go. And for those of you who are not in any of my online groups, my Facebook group or my LinkedIn group, I have a Facebook group for introverted women who are leaders and aspiring leaders, and the link is above the video. I also have a LinkedIn group for women, introverted women who are senior leaders, and again, the link is above the video. And if you want to identify the areas that you need to focus on so that you are more confident, influential, and impactful as a leader, then I have a free assessment on my website, aboundingsolutions.com, and the link to that is above the video. So let's see what we have in terms of what people are going to do. So we've got someone who's going to keep a success journal. Fantastic. Anybody else? Yes, another person who's going to complete a success journal. These are from the Facebook group. So I'm sorry I can't see your names because StreamYard doesn't show the names unless you opt into it. So yes, do something different. And remember, the way that we think affects how we feel, and we have to behave according to how we're feeling. And if you can change what you believe about yourself, your situation, and the environment you're in, you will change how you act and behave. That will change how you feel, you change how you act and behave. So thank you for tuning in. Next week, I'm going to be covering imposter syndrome, which again is something which is quite common amongst senior leaders. It's something quite common amongst many people, and according to reports, 70% of people experience imposter syndrome, but it's not something that gets talked about openly, and neither is self-doubt as well. So, and I think the more we can have these conversations, the more it will remove the stigma about it, and people won't feel so isolated experiencing it, and recognize that it is quite common. And then also it removes some of that, by removing some of that stigma, it makes it less fearful as well. So thank you for joining, and I will see you next week. So before I go, any questions before I go? I'll hang on one more minute if anybody's got any questions. No, it doesn't look like it, but I will come back and read the comments if anybody has got any. So until the next time, bye.